hundreds of millions of dollars for the new Bills Stadium. And tonight we're learning more about the logistics of building the team's new home in Orchard Park. Groundbreaking is still set for June, and literally hundreds of companies will be needed to complete the work there of that $1.5 billion complex. Jacob Tierney has been reporting on this for our partners at Buffalo Business First, and he joins us now. His article today, by the way, is headlined, "Hundreds of Contractors Are Needed for the Bills' New Stadium. Here's what they need to know." His reporting going through the major players in the stadium design and construction. It also tells us about the timeline over the next several years. So Jacob, I want to start here, and we'll show our viewers a couple of the pieces of the hierarchy here as they're going to be building this. You can see the design firm here is Populous, an architectural firm out of Kansas City. The lead contractor is Gilbane Turner. It's a partnership between two big construction companies. They've done more than a dozen stadiums in the NFL across the country. They're not headquartered here, though they have a presence, but they are working, as you can see there, with 34 Group, which is tied to Thurman Thomas. He founded that, so there's this local connection. So if those companies are in charge, that's one thing. We're hearing hundreds of these subcontractors are going to be needed for this?
Yeah, it's a pretty complicated setup. So it's almost like a pyramid with the Bills and Gilbane Turner and 34 Group on top. Beneath them, you're going to have what they call the prime or first tier contractors. And then those contractors are in turn going to bring subcontractors of their own. These are the second tier contractors. So it's this pretty complicated system of Gilbane Turner is going to pick the primes, and then the primes are going to go out in working with Gilbane Turner to get the additional labor they're going to need for this massive project.
Yeah, and because it's so massive, that's why you need all of these hundreds of individual companies working on it. I know that you also go into here the labor requirements that are spelled out in the contract, in the lease, and everything that was signed. What should we know about that and how that will influence how this is built?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a construction agreement between the state, the county, the Bills, and Gilbane Turner, and the full text of that agreement was just released with the new documents that were finalized recently. There's a couple big things going on. The first is that more than 30% of the work needs to come from a few specific groups. There's minority-owned businesses, women-owned businesses. Each of those needs to cover about 15%, and then about 6% needs to come from businesses owned by disabled veterans. And Gilbane Turner needs to put in a good faith effort to make sure that those numbers are hit. The other big thing is the project labor agreement, which states that most of the work needs to be done by union workers. Essentially how this is going to work is that the subcontractors need to go to the unions first when they're hiring up to work on this project. Now, if the unions can't provide the labor, then the contractors can look somewhere else. There's also a provision that the contractors, if they have existing employees who are non-union, those employees can come on and work on the stadium, but no more than 50% of the workforce from any given contractor can come on under that provision. At least half needs to be union.
Finally here, and thousands of people across Western New York are going to be working on this, so I'm sure people watching right now are very interested. The final thing that you reported on in this article is about the timeline. We're saying still set for groundbreaking in, what, like a month and a half or 2 months? Yeah,
so the two numbers that have been consistent throughout this whole process, groundbreaking in June, stadium open by fall of 2026. There is a more detailed timeline that deals with excavation, steel work, and importantly, the demolition of Highmark Stadium across the street, and all that is laid out in the construction agreement as well.
Obviously not demolishing the old one until the new one is built, but
yes,
it's going to happen quickly. I mean, I know it seems like 2026 is a long way off. It's really not when you think of the scale of this project.
Oh, for sure. This is the biggest project the region's seen in many years, if not ever, and they are moving as quickly as they can to make this happen.
It's going to be interesting to follow. Jacob Tierney with our partners at Buffalo Business First. Thank you so much. Appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me.